Hi guys, how you all doing today? Storm here with another video. So we're gonna go over a couple of things. And first off, how to beat the Roze skin. Secondly, is there a skin currently better than Roze? And thirdly, how to make yourself the best at hiding in corners, the best at camouflaging with everything, and the best at just being overall low profile and literally merging with your environment. Let's get into it. First things first, we do have the Roze skin. That goes without saying. If you did not get it, there's no way to get it. Not anymore. This was an older loot that you had to do in the Season 5 Modern Warfare Battle Pass. Now, people will confuse this because there is currently 6 seasons. What I refer to as, since it doesn't have a name, and you can coin the name because I've, coined it. There is Modern Warfare's, or I'm not going to call it Modern Warfare because it's not. It's Modern Warfare 4. We've already had a Modern Warfare. There's Warzones, MW4s. I think, yeah, because it's both Warzones. So we have Modern Warfare 4s, and then we have, not to be confused with Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, the original Modern Warfare, because this is not Modern Warfare, it's Modern Warfare 4. It's the next installment. We have Modern Warfare's season, which is, Modern Warfare's Warzone, which is 6 seasons, and then we have Cold War's Warzone, which is 6 seasons, right? So that's what we're referring to this as. We got this in the Modern Warfare 4's Modern Warfare 4 Season 5, and you can't get this anymore. Now, obviously, some people chose to do the higher profile thing, but unlike previous games, where let's say you had a longer gun, let's say you were aiming with your pistol versus someone that was aiming with the world's biggest, longest gun, the way the game's programming would work, where is like you might see your gun poking out in the older Call of Duties, but on their screen it wouldn't be. I don't know why that is. It doesn't make any sense. It's this weird kind of like black hole-ish design, whereas if you're watching them, their gun is gonna like weirdly shrink and stretch. So if you see their pistol come around the corner, the tip of their small, very low length pistol, it's going to poke out the same as their sniper rifle. Now on their screen it won't. It will show the person, whoever's using it, it'll show the sniper obviously sticking out. But on the enemy screen it will just show, or anyone else's, an observer screen, it'll just show the pistol sticking out the same as the sniper. I don't know why, it's just the case. I don't think that it always was like to that extreme. I think they slowly started like just very minimizing the hitbox, where it's like it wouldn't be exactly like the sniper would have a little bit more, but it wouldn't be realistic to where as matching what the viewer was versus the observer, outside observer. So yeah, that's something to consider. But in the most recent installment, everything is accounted for. They've well, no, not everything. Like there's certain, like if you have a vest or a life vest on your shoulders, you can shoot through that and it won't hit you. There's certain parts of the body that you would think would count and it won't count, and those other parts you would think wouldn't count, that clearly are missing the actual character, but is actually hitting you. So you're not technically hitting them, but the hitbox is registering that you are. Now, I personally, everyone liked Merc the most, I guess, because you had to unlock it later. But I liked this because, Rook, because I had a lower profile. Now, the cool thing between Merc and Rook is that, as you can see, it's not much, different. It does stick out just a little bit more. However, at least you're covering that wrist, because that wrist will show. It's the only real bright point besides the eyes. And the eyes are really not, it's almost non-noticeable. And the wrists, from a distance, it's not noticeable either, especially if you're crouched and you're facing the other person. If you're on the side, it's such a minor margin, that it doesn't really make a difference. The biggest thing you need to be on the lookout for is at the face. Now, there's certain people that will, or there's certain characters that have, camo, darkened camo on the face. But the problem with that is, it's still a huge, thing. And if you're sniping and you're looking at someone with a face, even if they got war paint on, unless it's like super dark and it's like covering their entire face like the Roze skin, it's still going to show. I don't know why that is, but it is. And it almost like reflects. It's almost shiny. Now, I think they fixed that a little bit where it doesn't reflect as much, because originally, if you'd use this one, like playing multiplayer or something, this guy's face shone like a flashlight, like just beads of sweat, which is like, hey, look, here's my face. It's like a big strobe light. Come snipe me, alright? They toned it down a bit, but it's still. Let me. How do I? The heck, man? Why won't let me view this shit? Okay, this is kind of obnoxious. Hold up. Okay, here we go. But yeah, it's much better, but the face is still like a real dead giveaway. So if you want the ultimate ghillie suit, you're not gonna want him. You're gonna want the one with that, with like bunch of weeds and twigs and shit, and then have like the horns on it. That is literally the best ghillie suit. There's nothing better than that. In fact, it's even better the Roze skin in certain circumstances, depending on your environment. So, if you're out in the field more, you're not in buildings as much, and you can prefer the outside, the exterior versus the interior, that one that I'm recommending to you, the one with the devil horns, that's got like a wooden devil horn mask, you're going to want to run that like almost all times. If you're more of an interior player, and you want to like take the high ground, you're going to want something like a Roze skin. Or what's now going to be better. Now, my theory is that because so many people are using the Rook skin, that they made it more gray. That I'm thinking, well, nobody's using the near dark, nobody's using the murk. So, what if that kind of like takes away the grayness? It does seem to me, at least, that it does take away the grayness. Just a little bit, but it also adds the bulk, which means you're increasing your hitbox. Now, I was watching some YouTubers and they're saying, "Oh yeah, no, everyone's hitbox is the same," and that's a bunch of bullshit. It just really is, because I've seen in a couple of guys' same videos, they're saying, "Oh yeah, all hitboxers are the same." Well, I'm literally watching this guy shoot the same shot on like the legs and the arms, and for places that clearly aren't shooting, like the guy's prosthetic leg, it's hitting him, and other people's legs it won't hit them, and you're shooting just shy of the leg and it'll hit the prosthetic leg and it won't hit other people's legs. It's just really weird. So it's something to consider. I do think they compensated a little bit to where even if you have a shorter, smaller character, which the Roze is smaller compared to other ones, I think that they added just a little bit more, like even if you're shooting slightly above her head, they increase the height hitbox, compared to the actual height of the character, and that's fine. But not all hitboxes are created equal. So it's kind of like people that say, "Oh, you can't run faster or jump farther or do things at the PC." It's a bunch of bullshit. What I like to do is I like to myth bust with things, and we actually verified it. Me and my friend, we went to my friend's house. We took our Xbox, we took our PlayStation, we took our PC. We all run the exact same class, right? Just dupe class in a private match. And we all circled out. We all got to try each one. The PC, you can run faster. You can jump farther. You can strafe jump further. You can do Superman jumps. You can react faster. You can spin faster. You have a higher frame rate. You have higher visibility. It is so unfair how much the PC is. You can literally run the exact same class and run twice the speed. It's a fact, not an opinion. But I have to say there are certain opinions that people think, like if you spin around with the recon for a while now, people kept telling me and I was convinced, and yeah, it's a visual illusion that you can actually do it. I don't personally believe that if you're spinning around increases the recon capture rate. And here's why. Because if you spin the opposite way that other people do, it feels like it's actually slowing down, which therefore confirms it's a visual illusion. Because if you spin the other way, it's actually, you spin, I don't know if it's the same, like, so let's, you know how the bars are going from left to right. So if you're spinning, I think it's the opposite way. If you're spinning from right to left, it makes it look like, because you're meeting, you're conjointing at the midpoint. One's going right, one's going left, so you're meeting sooner. So spinning left while it goes right, it's going to make it seem like it's going faster. But it's not, it's just a visual illusion. Otherwise, regardless of whether you spun right or left, the speed would still be increased further, and since it doesn't, that confirms that it is a visual illusion. So see, that's like certain things that you're like, oh yeah, here's a cool trick that, you know, doesn't actually work. Another really great example is, and a lot of people don't know this, I'm about to share one of my secrets with you, playing zombies. It's back from the original, I think, World at War zombies, the very first, in Black Ops 1. If you jumped as soon as you got a teddy bear, anywhere where you jumped, especially the more people in the same area or similar area, more likely that box was going to spawn, highly increase the chances of it spawning whoever was jumping. So if it was only one person jumping, it has a highly increased chance of spawning near the one person jumping. So, kind of like that. It was a thing that was like a rumor, but it was confirmed. So, let's get into this. Just wanted to explain every other bit, so sometimes you have a set of foundation. So, if you want the absolute darkness, the Merc, if you do have all this unlocked already, Merc is the way to go. I don't know for sure. If a season's done, if you can still complete the challenge since you have the character unlocked, I believe you can. I don't see why not. But hey, who knows? If someone's got a Modern Warfare character that they just don't care about unlocking the things, and it still gives you a progress slot, or it still gives you the option of unlocking it, and you make any progression with it, let me know. Okay? Now, moving right along, and I've included this in the other video, I was the first in the world to tell people about it. You now, before if you want to unlock a certain character's skin, you had to equip that skin, and you had to do that challenge. Now, within the recent update, I don't know why, I think it was kind of like a hidden little secret that nobody, Twitch, YouTube, otherwise knows, so I'm kind of like why I helped give it some exposure on my channel. If you equip any skin, obviously you would want to equip the best skin, best suited for your gameplay. If you're, like I said, interior versus exterior, darkness versus shrubbery, you can choose whatever skin you want and still get progression to any of the other skins. It's really cool. So you no longer have to equip the skin that you're doing the challenge for in order to make progression challenges towards it. Like, haven't changed from the Roze, and I've still completed all these ones. The extra one for Adler, Baker, I'm still working on this. 4 out of 5, haven't equipped him, yet I'm still, you know. So, and that's my most recent one I have to complete. Well, I think second most recent. Also working on this one. That's the most recent. And this one I'm 21 out of 25. And yet, I'm still using the Roze skin for the proof. Anyway, sorry about all this. I just like to really lay down the foundation. So if there's any confusion, I like to make sure that it's all out in the open. You know, clarity. So let's go over to the store. So there is only a few things that are better than the Roze skin. Now, the Roze skin is been grayed out, which has nerfed it. They have increased its hitbox, which has nerfed it. So there's only one or two things better. Again, it goes back to interior versus exterior. So if we're comparing it to the Roze skin, we're talking about interior. We're talking about shadows, darkness, backs of buildings, corners, you name it. So we're going to go over to the only two interiors that are the next best thing you can do. Now, in my personal opinion, this one is the best. Now, it's going to offer You got the same, maybe a little bit more bulk than the Merc or the Roze. The only problem is the letters and the patch on the side. The letters, even though they're white, they don't concern me that much. They're not that visually, you know, like grasping at you, you know, because you still got reflections on some of the pieces, you know. See how the light's reflecting off his helmet? I'd say the patch is the biggest thing. But when you're crouching, your gun's going to be in the way. It's going to be covering, you know, like a basic assault rifle, it's going to be covering the CAJ. So this is the best as far as just darkest dark that you're going to be wanting to run. Other than that, there is one other dark that I think should be explained. Now, if you don't have this in your store, you're just gonna have to check daily and come back, and see, well, is it in my store? You just gotta keep checking, right? So the Balkan Blue Lightning unit, you'd think it would have more lightning things involved. It doesn't. It really doesn't. A name of a gun, no lightning visuals, and you know, none of this has to do with lightning, right? It's more just like a darkness. So anything would be like thunder. By the way, this is more visual than the Rook helicopter you get with that Season 5 Battle Pass, but it's a nice runner-up. But these are the two things that, you know, this is nice matte black. That's good, but this is what you're really going for. This is what you're really looking for. Some people have said, oh, this thing at the bottom is great. Well, they're kind of a bunch of fucking retards. I mean, it's great as far as, like, it's better than nothing. It's better than a lot of the other characters, but and a lot of YouTubers fail to mention this. There's a big shimmering strips of gold, and his big-ass shiny, hey, I'm here, gold face mask, and his eyes that are white, his pasty white skin, through his already shiny, look at me, I'm here, come shoot me in the face. Gold, you know, big old strobing light of, I'm here, I'm not concealed, please somebody shoot me, right? So, yes, it's better than nothing if you're facing away, which kind of puts you at a disadvantage, and you just gotta pray to God they won't see you. Also, this is weird, because I've noticed where sometimes, and the game just being the broken game that it is, and Activision being the negligent pieces of shit that they are, I've gotten this argument constantly where people saying, well, it doesn't matter if they can't see you, your nameplate's always going to be visible. And other people saying, well, no, that's kind of the whole point of Roze skin. If you lay still and you don't move, your nameplate disappears, or sometimes the game just glitches out and doesn't show up, or if you're running Ghost, it doesn't show up. But none of this is true. Now, there could be a glitch that comes alongside with Ghost, but the Ghost clearly doesn't say it removes a nameplate like it has in previous Call of Duty. Sometimes it was Cold-Blooded that would say that. Sometimes it was Ghost that would say that. But it doesn't say that. And yes, I do think that a good 50% of the time, your nameplate will just disappear. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's a glitch with Cold-Blooded, have a glitch with Ghost, or if it's a glitch by having both of those together, or if it's, you know, using dead silence, if it's just you not moving for a while, if the guy doesn't directly aim at you. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's got to be some truth to it, because I've noticed times where I've aimed right at a person and it doesn't show, and where my teammates will actually say, hey, your nameplate's not showing. So yeah, there's definitely some truth to it. I don't know how. We haven't, you know, stamped it into the ground. We don't know for absolute certain how to control that. But yeah, it's just, you know, sometimes your nameplate will show, sometimes it won't. So, it's a good third place, I guess. It's better than a lot of the other ones, but I wouldn't recommend it as being, like, the best. A next runner-up to the Balkan Blue Light with the Balkan Special ATU, the Milsim, would be the Nico Take No Prisoners with the Nikito skin Bloodletter. And yes, like probably a good, I'm gonna say third place, but there's a lot of red that's covering parts of your body, kind of like if you took that stamp on this guy's right side and then you stuck it all over. If you like took that and stuck it on the crotch, other part of the arm, on the chest, you know. So it's really not as good as this one if you want absolute darkness and you're not really caring about bulk. This is currently the best and will beat the Roze skin as far as that goes. Or, like I said, for darkness and just, you know, if you want the best, you know, best of both worlds for hitbox, you know, mindfuckery, having just like a smaller visual. Yes, the Roze skin is still, you know, just the basic Rook is still the best, even with the grayed out. And that's kind of what you're getting the trade-off for. So do you want the better darkness? Or do you want like the smaller, lower profile? Because with this, you have a choice, like I said before. You can do this, which is darker, and it covers up that wrist, but it's going to be bulkier. You could even use the near dark, and it's good enough. So you don't even need this. I'd just use the near dark if you don't want to cover the wrists, if it's a big enough issue. But it does seem to like make things darker. It kind of almost like takes over the gray just a little bit, because the things that are going over the gray kind of makes it even darker, and I don't think they really patched that, because it's definitely darker than the gray that they, you know, nerfed. The parts that were used to be black are just gray, and this is still black, so they haven't nerfed the extra bits of Merc and near dark, just the complete Rook. So that's something to consider. So it's all about compensation, lower profile, or darkest dark, you know. So I normally would never spend my COD points, and I almost never do. The only time I'll ever do it is if it's something that's absolutely worth it, like a custom class or something that permanently makes it easier to get, you know, better battle pass, like it did in Black Ops 4, or it makes it, you know, just creates the higher chance of the stuff. Just, it's something in Black Ops 4 that was worth it. And then something like this, where it's like, you know, I'm highly considering getting the Vulcan Blue, but it's like the Rook skin is still so good, I just don't see the need to do it yet until it's like either taking out completely or they nerf it again. The only two things I'd probably buy, right, is this one, because the best skins out of this entire thing is the Balkan Blue. You had to buy it. And the one with the woodland looking mask, you know, the the wood mask with the horns, and then there's just complete bush, like everything else is surrounded by green. So you know, so that's, you got your best exterior, got your best interior. Those two would be the best. I don't see how anything else would be better. So yeah, not this one. This is just weeds. I mean, it's not the worst, don't get me wrong, but your face, dude, that face is just all over the place. It's so much more visible. It's kind of like, you see how it's like shining through, and then you got like that weird prism hat going on. Like that's a huge thing. It's even worse than what I have, and that's the default. I got the default, and mine's better than that. You know, as far as the face goes. And, you know, technically, as far as the reads, if you think about it, it's still better. It's just like that danker, darker. So you want if you want a green, you want a nice, dark, rich green. This is so much better than the weeds, in my personal opinion. It's like a nice, old school, original Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare suit. You know, real ghillie suit. Although a real ghillie suit would be not just covering the back, it'd be covering everything. You know? If they make that, that will be the prime ghillie suit. There will be nothing better. So yeah. But until then, the ones I have mentioned are the best. Now to beat the Roze skin, this is gonna be tricky, right? It might already be too late, but the best way you can counter the Roze skin, let's say you or your mates happen to beat them, and now they're in the gulag, to spray paint them red, right? So you might not fight them, but if they're fighting and they happen to win the gulag, at least now they're gonna be a big ass bright red, like here I am, you know. Spray paint them with hearts, because that's way you're having it a bigger visual, right? Yellow's good, and red's good. Those are going to be the best, but honestly, it's just a nice custom default. Red is honestly your best option. Just do the hearts with the spray paint. Where is it? I like it how they made this, you know, epic and this legendary, but this is clearly, you know, they should really swap it. So yeah, just a nice default heart. That's all I need. It's good enough. So, yep. You spray paint them with that, even if you don't face them off. That way, next time they get back in, they're gonna be a nice target, and they won't even realize it. Unless they see you do it, and even then, there's nothing they can really do. So, I think I covered about everything there is to cover. So, I hope you guys appreciated the video. It took quite a bit of time to research this and find out what's the best thing there is. Now, one last thing before we go. I think it's kind of vital to include this. So, people are showing off with their Damascus guns. If you want to have the best concealment gun, you're gonna want a nice shorter barrel. That's kind of like a huge thing, and you're gonna want to like have a nice black finish. So if there's a black version of the gun, go for that, right? If there's a certain gun that, you know, is like silver or shines out, and you have another gunsmith custom that makes it blacker or like less shiny, you know, more of a low profile, and just replace it with that, you know. So yeah, don't have any stickers. Even like I thought that having some of these stickers would actually make it less visible. No, it still makes it visible. Yes, it's the least visible stickers, but it's all the black guns by themselves are just better for that anyway. You're not gonna want any charms. You're not gonna want anything too fancy. And then, when you get the chance, at least for your Modern Warfare weapons, these are nice gray, kind of complements the gray Roze skin. But if you want to go absolute even darker, you're gonna want to get Obsidian. Okay, since there's so many guns to get, you can get Obsidian, dude. You know, you run your favorite gun, like a sniper, or just like an SMG, whatever the case may be, or a riot shield, you know, whatever it is. You're gonna want Obsidian, okay? Dark matter, I mean, it's kind of like lower profile, kind of, compared to some of the other brighter ones. But if you had to go a Modern Warfare 4 weapon, oh, I suggest, you know, anything that's darker, greener. You're gonna want the, unless it's like matte black, you know, it's like a low profile weapon that actually includes it being blacker than the default. You're just want to use the default, and you're gonna want to, let's see here. I would personally use not the platoon, because that gray, you know, like that egg white, whatever you want to call it, that sandy color, is going to be much brighter than if you were just to do the ambush. You know, it's just got a darker look to it. If you got rid of all that orange, that would probably be the best. But honestly, this with the silver, it's just gonna increase your profile. I mean, again, it's better than some of the brighter ones. But honestly, if you just want to have the least profile, you just want to run a gun with no camo. You want the default, or you want a gun that's even blacker than the default, if it gives you that option. Now, last thing I would like to go over is that there's certain guns that are glitched that remove the hitbox and remove it, like, so if, let's say someone's coming around the corner, because of the newer games, if you have a longer barrel, you're going to be having a higher profile and your gun's going to poke out quicker. Well, guess what? There's certain things you can do to make it less appearance. Like, look at this. Like, this sticks out more, and that's a silencer, right? But this makes it stick out through the silencer, so it's like your barrel's literally poking out of the silencer, which it's not supposed to do, right? So this is what it looks like normally. But if you use this with the right, because really it's supposed to have, I think it's this one. I think it's, yeah, it's this one, the Dune Whisper. With this, the Dune Whisper. But because I combined it with a default, this is what it's supposed to look like. But the default makes it, you know, it makes it smaller. It just looks cooler. Actually, I don't know. Does it make it smaller? I mean, it may stick out just a little bit more. But at the same time, like, do you want, which it's always going to be a compensation, because Activision's never going to let you just have exactly what you want. Like, I think this might stick out just a little bit more, but that bronze barrel is going to be more of a giveaway. So if you're laying down, that's going to be more shimmering and saying, hey, I'm over here, versus this is just like a couple inches extra, and it's just going to keep you more concealed if you're like in a bush, right? And then if you don't care about damage and you're just like the world's best sniper, like, because if you're sniping at long ranges, you're always going to max out your damage and your range. But if you're like the world's best sniper, you're hitting every shot in the head, which, you know, is insane already, then you're going to want to have the best mobility, the best quick scoping. You're going to want to have the, well, I mean, at that point, you just should be running anything that's shiny and say, hey, I'm over here, because you just don't give a fuck. You're not trying to be stealthy, because you're just so freaking amazing. You're the world's best sniper that you're trying to show off, right? But, you know, whatever. If you're trying to do both just for, like, shits and giggles and just trying to, like, make it look like that, the ultralight, I think, is the smallest barrel. Yeah, I think, yeah, the ultralight and the cavalry are the same. So yeah, but those are the two smallest, at least comparing it to the default versus the ignition. So yeah, there are ways to make your gun better, better than like the orderly low profile gun that's meant to be low profile. You mix and match the blueprints. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that all to you, let you learn a couple of new things, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Until next time, peace guys.